happy State of the Industry Day, everybody. It's our favorite day of the month at the Experience Brokerage Network because we get to see your faces. So we're excited to get started. We have a lot of great things to talk about today and a phenomenal guest. So I'm just going to dive right in. Oh, there we go. So I am Katie Hardman. I am the Chief Opportunity Officer for the Experience Brokerage Network and the team leader of Keller Williams Sunset Corridor and Keller Williams Capital City. And I am joined by my lovely co-host, Leslie. Leslie, who are you?
Well, I am the general manager of the Experience Brokerage Network, which, as you know, encompasses 4 amazing Keller Williams market centers right here in the state of Oregon, as well as the team leader partner in our Eugene Springfield area. Now, for those of you who know us well and are our frequent visitors, what you might be asking why we do this every time. And the reason is that we are constantly growing as a family. So we want to make sure we introduce ourselves every single month because we have had 8 new amazing family members join us since the last time we broadcast. So welcome to our 8 new XBN family members across the state of Oregon. Please welcome them with our loving culture. And hopefully you will meet them in the hallways, share your journey, and welcome to XBN. So Katie, with no further ado, I'm going to pass it back over to you for some awesome housekeeping and announcements before we introduce our speaker.
I like the word announcement better than housekeeping. So we're going to go with that. There's 2 things that I wanted to talk about this morning. And the first one is it's the 4th quarter. So this isn't new. We are doing the 4th quarter takeover. And for those who are participating, you know, because you have listings, and this goes out every Sunday in our newsletter, but we are running a listing competition. So here is your leaderboard for as of yesterday. So we finally have a rookie on the board, Emily Bailey. We are so excited. You are our first rookie to take a listing in the 4th quarter. Rookies out there, if you got licensed in the last year, go take a listing. The prizes for this are going to be amazing if you win the listing competition. Our solo leader for listings taken is Adie Smith out of Eugene. Our team as for leader in listings is the Journey Home team out of Capital City. And then our group who has taken the most listings, the Josh Cooley team, is kind of blowing everybody out of the water with 18 listings taken out of the Eugene Springfield office. So we've got all our offices represented on the leaderboard, which makes my heart happy. And congrats to everybody that is out there taking listings right now. It is not too late though. If you have clients who are on the fence, get your listings in. And the way that we calculate this is by listings submitted in command. So that's how we know that you've got a listing that you have taken. So submit your listings, upload your paperwork into command so we know about them and make it onto the leaderboard. This is the XBN leaderboard, so across all 4 of our brokerages. However, locally, you've been seeing your leaderboards on Mondays as well and at your all partners meetings. So lots of chances to be recognized and to win some fun prizes. So congrats to everybody. Now, the second announcement is a short one. We announced this last month that we have a new partner in healthcare. They're Clearwater. And I just wanted to bring this up because you received an email from us yesterday with details on how to sign up because it's open enrollment for healthcare. So we sent out an email yesterday with instructions on how to get a quote and also how to sign up for benefits. However, you will also hear from the Clearwater team in your upcoming team meeting or all partners meetings. So Sunset Corridor, you'll hear about it tomorrow. And then Eugene and Salem, you will hear about it next week. In Southern Oregon, got a preview early last week. So be on the lookout, attend your all partners or your team meetings this week and next week to get more information from the Clearwater team about healthcare benefits. We're excited to give you another option in getting benefits for healthcare. So if you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, wait or follow up with that email and the presentation at your team meeting. Okay, that's all the housekeeping / announcements. Now I'm really excited to introduce Julia to you. And I'm actually going to read her bio because I know you guys all know Julia. You've seen her, you've taken her classes, you've interacted with her at Family Reunion or Mega Camp, but I don't know that you know just how amazing she is. So I'm going to tell you before I hand this stage over to Julia, just a little bit about her, because I read this and I was like, I thought I knew you, Julia, and this is amazing. So Julia Lashay Israel is a dominant force in the real estate sector with a remarkable 23-year career. Through her multifaceted roles as a real estate broker, trainer, speaker, author, and advisor, Julia continues to shape the future of real estate, embodying a vision steeped in empowerment, education, and equal opportunity. A licensed real estate broker in Minnesota and Texas, her efforts transcend brokerage services, reaching into realms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She serves as the spearhead of these initiatives as head of inclusion and belonging at Keller Williams Realty International, introducing groundbreaking strategies that foster an inclusive and harmonious workplace. Apart from her leadership roles, Julia has made substantial contributions as a public speaker and educator. She has authored cornerstone industry courses, including The Agent of Distinction and The Color of Real Estate, educating over 23,000 agents. Julia's energetic and knowledgeable speaking style has graced prominent platforms like the 2022 Realtor Conference and Expo, earning her a perfect score as a favored speaker. Julia is equally recognized in media circles, notably as a co-host of the transformative podcast, The Color of Money, and as a contributing author at Inman News. Her insights resonate powerfully, shedding light on industry trends while aiming to uplift Black and historically marginalized communities. Her relentless pursuits have garnered accolades, including the 2020 Exceptional Service Award, 2021 Go-Getter Award, consistent features in the list of Rise Media newsmakers, and was named Texas top 100 most influential people to watch in 2022. I am super honored that she has joined the Experience Brokerage Network this morning to talk to you about leadership and inclusion in your business. So Julia, thank you for being here this morning and talking and pouring into our team. I'm going to give you the stage now. Oh. Are you here?
I'm on mute. Sorry. Here, can y'all hear me? I was just talking.
Yes.
Thank you. I was saying, I can't believe you read that whole thing, but thank you. And I'm super excited to be here, and I'm grateful to be here. So thank you for having me. And I love that slide. That looks cool. Friends, I am here today to talk to you about a couple of things. First and foremost, I would introduce myself, but you did a very good job of that. But what I want to say is really at the heart of it all. I'm a realtor. I'm a realtor that runs real estate businesses, and the one thing or two things that I used to always say, the things that I love most are real estate and real estate agents. And so I have the unique opportunity to work here as the head of inclusion and belonging to help real estate agents grow their business, which is what I've always liked to do. I have been with Keller Williams for 18 of my 23 years in real estate. I have served in a number of capacities. I still have a team in Minneapolis, actually. So I've been an agent. I've been an MCA. I don't know if y'all know that. I was a productivity coach. I was a coach. I was an assistant team leader. I was all the things. So I've had the opportunity to serve in a number of different capacities. And now I have the opportunity to help even more people grow their business. And I do that through people. If you're familiar with our Y4C2Ts, the S is success, results through people. And that's what I get to do. I get to talk to a lot of different people about how we can grow businesses through people. Because friends, we are in a people business, yes or yes. So the interesting thing about that is that when I took this role as head of inclusion and belonging, a lot of people said, why are we doing this? I don't know that we should be talking about diversity and equity and inclusion. And in fact, there were people that wrote letters to Gary and said, you shouldn't have that girl talking about that. This is going to bring the company down. It's going down, and it's going down fast. And I was really confused, honestly, about why people were anti what I call people, but they were calling it anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then I realized that everybody's understanding of that is different. If you've been paying any attention in the world at all, they use the term DEI, which most realtors don't even know what it means. It's very corporate acronym. The diversity, equity, inclusion. All most people hear is on TV that it's not a good thing and it's a bad thing. And should companies do it or should they not do it or should they whatever, and nobody really knows what it means. And so we started actually explaining it because even the word diversity is confusing for a lot of people. You'd be surprised. But I'll ask you all. I know some of you can engage and some of you can't. But when I say the word diversity, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the first word that comes to mind for you? And if you can't engage, drop it in the chat, say it out loud, come off of mute. Let's just have a conversation.
Many different.
Many difference, okay. Someone says division. Oh, that's interesting.
Variety.
Variety, okay. That which makes us different. Yep, interesting. There was a team leader who asked this question at one of her sales meetings. She actually did one of those Wordle things where you text it and then it shows up on the screen so that people could, be honest about their opinion. And her question was, what's the first word that comes to mind when I say the word diversity? And the number one answer that actually showed up was uncomfortable. And I found that to be interesting. And then I found out that people find it to be uncomfortable. Now, a lot of people will say race. That's the first thing that comes to mind for them is race. And I could see why then that would make someone say uncomfortable, because to have a conversation about race or racism is uncomfortable for a lot of people. So then we decided, well, maybe we ought to explain to everyone what we mean by diversity, equity, and inclusion, because clearly there seems to be a lot of different answers. So excuse me, as I pull my slides up here, I'm going to jump around a bit if you don't mind. It's coming. I don't know if you can see it yet, but I can't. And it's on all kinds of different screens too. Okay, let's figure this out. I got all kinds of things happening here. Give me a second to get where we're supposed to be on this slide. Here it is. This is what I want to show you. We decided we would explain to people what we meant by it. And really, and you don't have to read this, I'll explain it to you. Diversity is just all the things that make you and I different, and all the people in all these little boxes that I'm looking at, the ones next to you and the ones above you. There's a lot of things that make people different. Some of you said differences. Yes, it could be race or it could be culture, but more common than that is a whole lot of other things that make us unique and different than each other. It could be religion. It could be your diversity of thought. It could be your geographic location. You all are in the Pacific Northwest or in Oregon, and I am in Texas. We are geographically located somewhere different. We are different. That makes us diverse by the nature of that. There's so many things that make you different. I would go places and sometimes people would say, well, Julia, when you come here, we don't have that much diversity. And I never knew what that meant, because I don't care what room I step in. There are 1,000 things that are making all the people in that room different than each other that make that room diverse. In fact, disability maybe is one of those things, which happens to be the #1 fair housing violation, by the way. Religion is actually the most meaningful and oldest way that people differ, which I think we're experiencing right now in society, greater understanding of that. But there's a lot of things that make people different. So when we talk about diversity, we're literally talking about the 170,000 agents that work here at Keller Williams and all the millions of things that make them different. And it could be a number of different things, but that's what diversity is. The equity part is just recognizing that because we're all different and come from somewhere different geographically, or we have different individuality or whatever that might be, we might need different resources, tools, conversations, level of support to reach the same outcomes and opportunities, which, by the way, we have a lot of opportunities here at Keller Williams. That's what the E is in the Y4C2Ts. It's equity, opportunities for all, because they're plentiful. And the inclusion part is the simple fact that we want all the people, all 170,000 of them, to have access to all those opportunities here at Keller Williams in the same environment and in the same space. And all those people can come here and build a thriving real estate business. That's what we mean by diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think you have it in your business too. I'm certain all your clients are not the same. I'm certain every single one of them are different some way, some shape, somehow, even if it's their attitudes, even if it's how they want their house to be sold. They're all very different. And that makes your business and your clientele very diverse. Some of them need different tools and resources and things to reach the same opportunity. I use the example of down payment assistance. Some of your clients might need down payment assistance, some of them might not. That is a form of equity. And the inclusion part is you want to help them all. You want them all to come to your business so that you can service all those different people and have whatever opportunities it is that they need to reach the outcome. You too are experiencing diversity, equity, and inclusion in your business. Our goal here at Keller Williams is really, we're on this mission to become the most inclusive company in the world. We are currently the largest real estate company in the world. The way that we do that is because we have a lot of people, 170,000 of them, in fact, which makes them all different. That's what we mean by diversity, equity, and inclusion. How do you think that, how does that sound to y'all? Is that okay? Getting some very slow nods of I think that's okay. Good, good. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is the unique opportunity that we have with people, all the different people. This is my favorite quote here, Simon Sinek. The reason we have conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion is because 100% of our clients are people and 100% of our agents are people. And quite frankly, if you don't understand people, then you don't understand business, because we are in a people business. So we have actually designed, and I'm going backwards in my slides if you haven't noticed, we actually have designed a training called the Agent of Distinction, and it's to help our agents understand people. And the purpose is that we want people to want to do business with us. And so we need to have a better understanding of people. And to me, the reason I love being a real estate agent is because we play an incredibly instrumental role in American society. Would you all agree with me if I were to say that most people in the United States build their wealth through the acquisition of real estate? Is that a true statement? Some slow nodding of heads, okay, some slow nodding of heads. If that is the case, friends, then we literally become the transferers of the wealth of America. We are transferring the wealth of America from one hand to another on a daily basis. We are the conduits of the American dream, or the barriers. We could be either one. But because we play such an impactful role in American society, I think it's important for us to really understand that role and understand how we can best reach all the people. And if there's anything I've learned about this job, friends, is that there are so many different types of people out there to reach. And so I want to talk to you just briefly today about our role in that, about our role in being the conduits of the American dream, the people who are transferring the wealth of America from one hand to another. Land ownership is a really big deal in the United States of America. It's a really big deal in the world. People are fighting war about it right now. It is a big deal what we do. And so understanding the magnitude of that and our impact in that, I'm just going to give you a few steps that we kind of discuss in the Agent of Distinction certification. And those are these here. We're going to talk about how do we grow our business through all of those different types of people. How do we be consistent in that? How do we commit to the Y4C2Ts? What does that really look like in practice? How can we reach the people through our marketing and advertising, and what our role in the industry really is, especially now, right? With all that's going on. So I went backwards, but I want to land here with this analogy. Show of hands, virtually or in real life, how many of you have taken the unconscious bias in real estate class with me? And since most of you don't have your cameras on, I can only see James' hand. Thank you, James. Yeah. Thank you. If you want to turn your cameras on, that would be exceptional. I would absolutely positively love that if you would do that. That's always great. If you've taken that class, you've seen me do this analogy before. So I forgive me for my replication, but many of you probably haven't. So I'll do it again for those of you who have not taken the class. I use this example of this yellow vase, and I use myself as an example of the person. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I don't know if y'all knew that. I'm from the Pacific Northwest as well. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, and my parents are ministers, and I grew up in the church. I have 3 older brothers, and they are tremendously conservative Christians. And by tremendously conservative, it's like their wives don't wear pants. I've never seen them without pantyhose and skirts on. They don't have their ears pierced. That kind of lifestyle, they are very much so living that way. We were brought up that way. I have had some very different life experiences, so I'm absolutely not going to do that. But because of my background and my upbringing and my life experiences, and the fact that my individuality, the fact that I'm a Black woman in America, all of these different things, I go through life with my own personal lens on, and I look at the world through my lens. So let's say my lens is red. As a result of my background and my upbringing and my life experiences, I'm looking at everything through my red lens. If I look at this yellow vase, for me, it's orange. But you're from somewhere different, and many of you are from Oregon, and maybe you're not originally from there. Maybe you're from somewhere else, maybe even a different country, and you have different backgrounds, and maybe you didn't grow up in the church, and maybe you don't have 3 older brothers, and maybe your parents aren't ministers, and you have different life experiences. And so you're going to look at the world through your own personal lens based on your background and your life experiences and your upbringing and all of those things that you've learned along the way. And so let's call yours blue. If you're looking at this yellow vase through your blue lens, what color is it for you? Put it in the chat. Shout it out. Green. Katie's really good with, thank you. You're really good with primary colors. That's awesome. Green. Mine is orange. Yours is green. Who's right or wrong? Tammy says it's yellow. Who's right or wrong? Is it yellow? Is it orange? Is it green? I'm looking at it through my lens, and you're looking at it through yours. So Katie says no one's right or wrong. Someone says it's red. Is there a right or wrong, or are we all looking at the same thing differently based on the lens that we have on?
Same thing differently.
I think it's a matter of perspective. It is yellow, but for who, right? Based on what, and all these different things. And so here's the question I have. Mine was orange. Yours was green. Someone's was yellow. Should we get on Facebook and fight about it? You think that's a good use of our time? Is that what we should do? Because friends, that's what's happening. If you had any idea how many screenshots I get a day of, look what someone said, it's orange. No, it's green. No, it's yellow. No, no, kick them out. They shouldn't be here at Keller Williams because don't they know we all see it orange? No, it's all green. No, it's all day long. This is my life. And then people take it to Facebook. They want to fight about it there. And the reality is I think we all have a different perspective of the same thing. All of your clients too. Every client that you've engaged with has a different perspective of the same thing, a different perspective of the transaction, a different perspective of you, a different perspective of all kinds of things. Everyone does. And I think it's more or less respecting other people's perspectives. I've been sharing a conversation that I had with an agent out of California. He called me earlier this year after an event we had. And he shared with me that he had attended an event and he was not feeling welcomed and included and received. In fact, he felt excluded. And the reason was because he was an atheist. He had attended an event and we probably did something, God, family, business, or something of that nature. I can't remember exactly all the details, but we had a really engaging conversation. It was actually my favorite conversation that I've had all year because he shared with me his perspective. And it was, he had a different, I was at that event as well, but I saw it differently than he saw it. See, I saw it through my lens and he saw it through his. I saw it orange, he saw it green. And I share with you my upbringing. And so we had a very different perspective of the same event. Here's the thing. I want him to come to Keller Williams events and feel welcome and included and like he belongs. And he still wants me to be the head of inclusion and belonging. So my conundrum, friends, is how do we create environments where everyone feels welcome and received and that they're valued and heard and respected when we all have all these different views and perspectives. The interesting thing about that conversation was nothing he said was wrong. It wasn't my perspective and it necessarily wasn't my belief, but he made perfect sense. Everything he said made perfect sense. Now, I think where people get confused, and I'm reading some of your comments in here, because I see it one way, I don't need to have him see it my way. And because I can respect the way that he saw it, that doesn't mean I now need to become an atheist. right? I still have my perspective and he still has his, but it does boil down to, I respect his perspective and I'd like to make him feel welcome when he comes to these events, although he have a different perspective than me. And that's the challenge that we have with working with people in general. I saw somebody put it here with our political leaders them too. That's the challenge we have. How can we all be in this same space with our different perspectives and value and respect each other? And our clients are going to all have these different perspectives too. And because of our perspectives or our upbringings or our beliefs or our life experiences, we do all create biases, and they're not necessarily inherently a bad thing. We all have biases. I have one that I'm very aware of, super aware of it. My bias is that I think Keller Williams agents are the best agents in the face of the earth. That's what I think. Granted, I'm biased, right? Yeah, that's what, yes, I am. Everybody has biases. Some of my biases I'm super aware of. Some of them I'm not so aware of. But I do still act on them. I make decisions based on them. And sometimes I'll think, God, why did I do that? And it's not necessarily always a bad thing. It's just that sometimes we're aware of them and sometimes we're not aware of how we show up. Last week, a couple weeks ago, I'll go back to the slide. A member on my team, he sent me a picture of him at a closing with some guy. I said, who is that? He said, yeah, he said he met you in an elevator one time and you looked at him funny. You looked at his shoes and you didn't want to speak to him. And so he said he felt like I was acting like I was too good to help him based off of whatever reaction I had to his shoes, which is just ridiculous, right? Like, how ridiculous is that? I was like, that is so ridiculous. I don't even recognize this man. I've never seen him before in my life. I don't even know who he is. And he's like, nope, he was really adamant that you looked at him, looked at his shoes, and you didn't want to have a conversation with him. And I was like, I would never do that. And then I thought about it and it was like, well, what kind of shoes did he have on? Like, maybe I did. Sometimes we're not even aware of how we show up, right? But whatever I did made that person feel like I wasn't showing up the way that he was expecting me to. I don't know. Honestly, I remember after he told me I had lost my phone and my whole headspace wasn't finding my phone, but I didn't show up and maybe, I don't know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But because we do have biases, particularly me. I am a fairly judgmental person. I have to correct myself all the time. But because we do have a different lens on than other people, and because we do have biases that we may or may not be aware of, sometimes we don't show up in the way that we meant to show up. So here's the solution to that as realtors, because here's the thing, the unfortunate part of that story, that gentleman that for whatever reason, he felt like I was not opening or not welcome to him or not receiving him. There is a statistic out there that when people approach us, if they want to buy a house or sell a house, particularly if they're first-time home buyers, if they've never done it before, if we shut them off or we turn them away, they don't try again for 7 years. Think of the impact that if he was saying, I want to buy a house, and he felt like I was judging him for whatever reason, or maybe I did, I don't know, for whatever reason, that he might not have tried again for 7 years. But the way that we prevent ourselves from showing up, I'm just a flawed human. I'm sure you all are perfect real estate agents there in Oregon. I'm sure you're perfect people, but me, I'm just a flawed individual. The way I protect myself from myself is to be consistent in my practices and my policies. Here's what I mean by that. If you have a buyer consultation, a listing presentation, whatever that might be, do the same thing every time. I represented buyers for over 15 years. That was my thing. That was my jam. Specifically, first-time home buyers. A lot of them first-generation home buyers. I did the same buyer presentation every time. I could do it in my sleep. I could do it jumping on one leg, patting my head and rubbing my belly. I do the same thing every time for a couple reasons. One, it protects me from my own ignorant self. I know I do look at people's shoes sometimes and judge them like, probably can't afford them. I might have. I'm just going to be honest with myself. Maybe I know I'm just like that sometimes, but if I do the same thing for everybody, it doesn't matter what kind of shoes he had on. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what color they saw the vase. It doesn't matter who they are, where they came from, what language they speak. I know I do the same thing every single time, which I give the same great service every single time, which, by the way, I always got the buyer representation agreement signed every single time. Gary had his top 100 masterminds downstairs yesterday, and they were talking about buyer presentation, by getting the buyer representation agreement signed. And someone was saying, oh, 60% of the time, 70% of the time. And I'm thinking like, I never not got that thing signed. The fact that this whole lawsuit thing has brought up conversations about buyer representation agreements. And I'm thinking like, I've been singing this song for 20 years about really doing well, but I do the same thing every time. I never wavered. Protects me from myself. And the other thing it does, friends, is it keeps you out of real estate jail, which by the way, is a little expensive to get out of, because God forbid you ever be brought before professional standards. They're going to ask you a couple questions. Show me how you normally consistently do it. And if you can't show how you normally consistently do it, maybe you did do it different that time. Maybe you didn't even realize you did it different that time. Maybe I did look at his shoes funny. I don't know, but consistency, friends. So what I'd like to say to you, especially in the environment that we're in right now, is to be very consistent. If you have listing presentations, buyer presentations, if you're holding an open house and you ask financial questions, same thing every time. Best if you have it written down, so you can say, here's how I always do it. That's just a standard practice of how we can be consistent in our practices and show up. By the way, we'll show up great every time. I can guarantee you I did a phenomenal buyer consultation every time. I did it the same way every time, every time. The third thing I'd like to ask of you is to commit to the Y4C2Ts. If we were in person, friends, I'd get up and have you all learn the dance. Did y'all know there's a dance to the Y4C2Ts? We would get up and do the dance, but we're not in person. So we won't do that today. But I want to focus on the E, which is the newest addition to the Y4C2Ts. That's that equity that we talked about. Remember, I talked about all those different people and how we want them to have access to the same opportunities. But some people are going to need some different things to have the same opportunities and some different tools and some different resources. And I used the example of down payment assistance as a form of equity. That is a form of equity. Some people need it, some people don't. The outcome is that we want to get them into a house. Here's the real reality of the situation. Friends, you're going to need to get some more tools and resources. There's a lot of different kinds of people out there that actually need a lot of different resources. My most recent Inman article that should be coming out, I hope this week, is about using unconventional financing options. Where I'm from Minnesota. We have the largest Somali population in the entire country. In fact, the only place in the world that has a larger Somali population than Minneapolis, the city of Minneapolis, is Somalia and Kenya. And we also have the largest homeownership disparity because, and it's not because of race, it's actually because of religion. You would look at that, we refer to it as the homeownership gap. The homeownership gap means the homeownership rate of white households that own homes and Black households that own homes. There's a large disparity that exists in the country, but especially in Minneapolis. But in Minneapolis, it's more about religion. And that's because a lot of the Somali immigrants do not use interest. Interest is a sin in the Islamic faith. So what happens is that we have a very large population of people that want to attain home ownership, but are not going to go down to the local Wells Fargo and get a home loan. So then how do you service these people? Well, we have what's called non-interest bearing loans. It's called Islamic financing. It's a non-interest bearing loan. I wrote a whole article about it. We use it 90% of the time for Somali families. Another example of that might be I-10 loans, I-T-I-N. Oftentimes people from Canada or Mexico are using an I-10 loan. What that is that they don't have social security numbers, but they have I-10 numbers from the government, and you can buy a house with that. There's a large percentage of people buying homes right now using I-10 loans. These are things that you may not have heard. You maybe never heard of Islamic financing. You maybe never heard of I-10 loans. You maybe have never heard of some of these things. I'm challenging you in this environment. You're going to have to get creative because one, we are becoming more diverse in the population of people, and people are needing different tools and resources to reach the same outcome. Also, by the way, I don't know if you're different in Oregon than anywhere else, but we need more buyers. We need more people. Maybe y'all are thriving in Oregon, but for the rest of us, we got to sell some more houses, okay? And so we're going to need to have to find more people. Actually, it's I-T-I-N, friends. I see you in the chat there. Thank you, I-T-I-N. And people have these in lieu of social security numbers. But there's a lot of different types of things that people need. I explain this like I use an analogy of a plumber. If something goes wrong with your plumbing, you call a plumber, they come to your house, they don't know exactly what the problem is. They'll figure that out when they get there. But I can assure you they'll have a toolbox with them. And they're going to probably need to use some of these tools. And they'll go in their toolbox and they'll use whatever they need to fix your problem. Maybe they have to go back out to the car and they have to get some things out there in the truck to come back in and do whatever it is. They showed up with tools. Likewise, our role as realtors is to have a toolbox full of resources and tools and solutions. We should know what the programs are in our area. We should know about some of these different ITINs and Islamic financing. Maybe you don't need to know about Islamic financing because maybe 50% of your population is not Islamic like it is in Minneapolis. Whatever it is, and I can guarantee you have an underserved market. Whatever your thing is there, you as the realtor should be able to know what the tools, the resources are and have them in your toolbox. Maybe you specifically don't have the solution, but somebody at your office does. A lot of times in my office in Minneapolis, and quite frankly, a lot of agents just simply didn't want to serve a lot of the people that we served on our team, which was fine with us. You know, they might say, hey, I don't really do that, but I think Julia does that. Her team does that. Great, send them to us. Absolutely, we do all that. At least know who the resources are to help people. Because if someone should approach you and say, hey, I'd like to buy a house, but I don't have a social security number, I would hate for you to say, oh, you can't buy a house then. Or if someone says, I want to buy a house, but interest is a sin, I would hate for you to say, oh, well, then you're not going to be able to buy a house. I want to buy a house, but my credit isn't so great, or I don't have the down payment, or I don't have the capital. I would hate for you to turn them away because you don't know the resources and the tools. If anything, just know where to send people, because if you should turn someone down and they mustered up enough courage to ask you, they may not try again for 7 years. As the conduits of the American dream, it's our responsibility to at least know what's out there in our area. And I don't know what's out in your area, but I would challenge you this week to go find out. What is it? Also, here's a graph about housing affordability. You don't have to figure out how to read this. I'll tell you my point here. My point here is that just a year ago, 2 years ago, we can even say, in order to buy a house, you needed $57,000. The great thing was most people were making 85. Good. How about now? You need $98,000 to buy a house. Here's the problem. Most people are only making 91. Most people aren't making enough money to buy a house right now. You're going to have to get creative in helping people get into homes or sell their homes. People can't sell their homes because nobody can afford to buy it. We have to get creative. I want to throw in a plug for that, the playbook, the Mortgage Hacks playbook. You can find it in Command. Familiarize yourself with solutions, friends. There's a lot of different kinds of people out there who need a lot of different things, and they're expecting you to have a toolbox of resources and tools and solutions. They may look different. Their barrier may be their language. Their barrier may be their income. Their barrier may be their religion. Their barrier may be, there's a lot of different barriers people are having. My hope is that we, as Keller Williams Realtors, will have a toolbox full of solutions. And maybe you can't help them, but someone else in your office can. But know what they are. That's our responsibility. The next step is being inclusive in your marketing and your advertising. I'm going to play a quick video for you. I think I am. Let me see if it plays. Actually, let me stop sharing so I can share different so I can make sure it plays. How y'all doing? Are y'all hanging in there with me? I know I'm just running my mouth. Okay, you're okay? Okay. Share sound. Here we go. All right. I want to share this video with you here.
I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious. Some thrive on comedy. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane. I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe. and lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike.
I like that. I play that because that was an iPhone commercial. It was played at a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I play that for two reasons. One, I like the poem. That was Maya Angelou's poem, Human Family. I think when we talk about our differences and diversity and all those things, I think it's important to understand that we are more alike than we're unalike. Like all of our clients want the same thing. I've never had a client say, I want to live in a really unsafe neighborhood and have my kids go to really bad schools. And nobody ever says that, okay? All of our clients want the same thing. But I also play it because who do you think the iPhone is for based on that commercial? Drop it in the chat. Shout it.
Everyone.
It's for everybody.
You say for everyone. How do you know?
Well, because there's people like, I don't know how to explain it. There's a diverse,
Yeah, it showed anybody and everybody can use it. Anybody and everybody was kind of
it
demonstrating.
included everybody, all different races and
Yeah, it was all.
backgrounds.
This is their product is not demographic specific. James said, I love it. Everyone needs to communicate. Friends, everybody needs housing. Who is your business for? If someone were to look at your advertising and your marketing, would they say, oh, their business is for everyone? They help everyone find housing and sell houses. Is that what people say when they look at your business? And if they're not, I would challenge you to think of some creative ways that you can demonstrate that your business is for everyone. Like I said, I don't know about you, but everywhere else in the country right now, we're trying to find more clients. I don't know if you are or not, or if you've got plenty, maybe you've got plenty, but the reality is we're all trying to find more clients. I want people to be attracted to me. I want people to say, she can probably help me, no matter who they are, or what they look like, or what their religion is, or what language they speak. I want people to be able to see my business as someone who can help them. There are certain things that we are actually doing that are not demonstrating that. There are certain things that we are saying that are not demonstrating that. And so identifying what those are is very helpful. Here's a not so fun fact. 1 in 4 adults in the United States have a disability. 25% of your database has a disability. Many of them are hearing impaired or visually impaired. When you're sending out things, are you cognitive? Are you aware of the fact that a lot of people can't actually hear or see the things that you think that you're advertising and marketing? Most of us don't even pay any attention to that. For example, on Instagram, when we post Instagram and you have those cool captions that run across there, I do it all the time, not just because it's cool, it's because I know a third of those people can't hear. When it says enter alternative text, most of us skip that. What that's for is for people who are using programming because they can't actually make out the image, but they have software that will tell them what you're trying to say or show them. We're not using this when in fact 25% of the people we're trying to communicate with have some form of disability that we probably don't even know about. With that, in addition to all the things that you can do with Zoom or captions or things of that nature, the things that we're sending out in our marketing, in our imagery, in our designs, are they inclusive of the people in your database? Hopefully you have a large and wildly, I can assure you, if you have a database, it's more diverse than you think. Because a lot of you may just be thinking racially diverse, but there's a lot of things that make people diverse. Religion is the oldest and most meaningful way that people differ. I use this slide because there was one specific day last year, it was actually still this year, one specific day earlier in the year, in April, when the 3 largest religions had their holiest day of the year all on the same day. It was Ramadan, it was Passover, and it was Easter, all at the same time. You know what most realtors did? They sent out Happy Easter. And a large part of your database was celebrating Ramadan or celebrating Passover. We didn't consider it because you're like, well, I'm celebrating Easter. Everybody's celebrating Easter. No, friends. There's a lot of different people in your, so when you send out Happy Easter, are you speaking to the other percentage of the people in your database that are currently at this very moment celebrating something else? Here's a really easy solution. What I found, because one of my struggles when I first started this role is there are so many different doggone days. It's like every day is a holiday. There's so many, every day is a something, every week's a something, every month's a something. I can't keep up. I'm missing all the somethings. We have taken all of the guesswork out. If you go to the designs in Command and you just pull up November, all the things that we know to exist in the world, you can find a design for it. It's already there for you. If you just want to be real inclusive and creative and make sure you're not leaving anybody out, there it all is. It's all there for your liking. But I would just, I'm giving a suggestion because sometimes we're doing things that we don't know are turning people off. I'm showing you this specifically because I did it. We did it here at KWRI. Basically, we did send out all of these on all of our social platforms, but the messaging was Happy Easter, everyone. And then, by the way, for those of you who are celebrating Ramadan and Passover, you too. That's how it came across. And boy, did we hear about it from the large percent of people in our database that were not thrilled with how we marketed our inclusivity. Things to consider, friends. I'm just giving you things to consider because as leaders and business owners, there's a lot of things to consider in a people business. And we all agreed we were in a people business. Lastly, when it comes to marketing and advertising, I want to talk about social media. We are talking about social media, things we put out there. I don't even know how to start this conversation. I wish I could just show you my phone of the screenshots of the things that people send me that agents post. Friends, you're leaders, right? You're business owners. Everybody on here is a business owner, yes? You're running real estate businesses. Yeah, no kidding, Tammy. Tammy says that, yeah, that's what we figured out. We figured that out very fast, Tammy. That was not intended. I don't know who made that, who made that caption, but basically that's what it read. It wasn't that verbatim, but that's how people read it. And it was not well received. Back to the social media thing. Here's the thing I'm saying, friends, and here I'm going to be very honest and open and transparent with you. There's a lot of people who see a lot of things right now, orange and green and yellow and brown, somebody said, and somebody told me I can't see it because I'm colorblind, because 25% of our database has a disability. There's a lot of things that we can dispute or debate. Of course, elections are in many places in the world last night. People can debate that all day long today. A lot of people are on social media, actually. A lot of business owners are. This Israeli-Hamas war has been one of the most learning experiences that we here at KWR Leadership have ever encountered. We were severely ill-prepared and ill-equipped to handle what became our responsibility to lead people. I just have never experienced a lot of those things before. There's a lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot of things that people feel very strongly about, whether it be the war, whether it be the elections, whether it be politics, whether it be whatever. People are seeing things a lot of different ways. I asked you on purpose, should we fight about it on Facebook? Because a lot of agents are. And it's detrimental to your business. And some people say, I don't care, it's my page, I'm gonna post what I wanna post. And I'm gonna say what I wanna say. And sadly, it doesn't really work that way. It really doesn't work that way. And so this is just a Julia-ism. This is no law, this is no rule, this is no KW rule. This is just something that I consider for myself. And are you all familiar with Rotary? Do you know what Rotary is? Some of you are shaking your head, yes. Rotary is an organization of people that go out in the community and I call them, they do good, safety and social issues and you know, they do good for people in the world. And at every meeting, and they have chapters all over the country. And at every meeting, they start their meeting, go-givers. I like that, that's what they are, they're go-givers, yes. At every meeting, they start it with the 4-way test. And I use this when I think about things that should or shouldn't be posted on social media, things that should or shouldn't be said out of your mouth as a business owner. I say, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? If the answer is no to any of those, I don't post it, I don't say it, and I stop thinking it. It's just a Julia-ism. You don't have to follow my advice, but I just say that as business owners, some of the things that agents are posting about the differences, about their perspectives, about what color they see the vase, are very strong and are turning you off from business. And again, maybe you've got plenty in Oregon. That's not what we're hearing everywhere else. Okay. So just some things to consider about leadership and about being a leader. Consider these things before you talk, before you post. Are these things? That's just my suggestion. And last but not least, as leaders in the real estate industry, that probably now more than ever, it's a good idea to get involved. We do this in a number of different ways. I like to talk about community involvement. And when I talk about community involvement, we actually have a community partnerships playbook. And in that playbook, we focus on our communities in 3 ways. By mentoring the youth and young adults through KWKC, that's kwkc.org. If you're not familiar with the Quantum Leap for Young Adults curriculum, anybody can teach it. We go out into the schools. We had a partnership with Boys and Girls Club. We teach young people all the things we wish we knew that we are privy to here at Keller Williams that a lot of people never hear about. The other way we do that is through homebuyer education, going out into the community and doing homebuyer education. And the other one is through K-Score, helping people get into a wonderful world of real estate. But the playbook focuses on how to do that. We even have presentations that you can do, but getting involved in your community. I don't think that there is anyone that I know of in our communities more equipped to talk about our communities other than the real estate agents. Nobody really knows our neighborhoods better than us. And by going out and partnering with the community, it does a lot of things. We're able to then provide the community with resources that we are at an advantage to frequently have, but you also grow your business through it. My team, we do about 60 million, and my team will tell you we don't lead generate, and I wish they'd stop saying that because we absolutely do lead generate through our community. Our lead generation is community involvement. I taught homebuyer education every Saturday for a decade straight, every Saturday. I taught homebuyer education at Habitat for Humanity. I taught it at the church. I taught it at the community center. I taught it at the library. I taught it with a bunch of different organizations. In fact, that is where all of my clients were from the classes that I taught. Now, Lasha, she does hers different. Also, I was on all the boards. I was on the neighborhood boards. I was on all the things. We are involved in our community. People in Minneapolis know if they want to buy a house, they come to the signature group. That's what we do. And we can sell it too. We're just known for that in our community. But getting involved is important. Also getting involved in the local associations, getting involved in your zoning and commission boards, your neighborhood organizations. They are making rules about how we sell real estate. And we should be at the table on how we do that because we're the people who do it. I like this quote, if real estate is your career, politics is your business. They're making laws and rules about how we do this. Obviously, we found that out, right? And we really should be involved in those conversations as part of our due diligence to the industry and to our community and to our own personal individual businesses. Leadership involvement is instrumental to our industry and to your real estate business. And by the way, we grew a $60 million business through it, period. That's how we did it. So we have some training and classes and things of that nature to help you understand people better. We actually have the social equity workshop that's going to be held on the 14th. We may change the date only because we have some guest speakers that we might need to add. But you can find all of these things on events.kw.com. We've got classes about our role in real estate, which is what the color of real estate is. Classes about how do we show up, even when we don't think that we're showing up certain ways. Maybe we are, and how we can be more aware so that we are attracting more people to us. How do we actually dive into this concept of inclusive leadership? And that concept is just that I want people around me to feel welcome and feel seen and feel heard and feel valued. And I want them to feel that way because I need people. Success results through people. We're in a people business. How do I make people want to be in business with me? How do I be an inclusive leader in that way? All of these classes can be found on events.kw.com. And moreover, all of these concepts that I've been talking about can be found in our diversity certification. It's not what you think it is. People think the diversity certification is going to talk about race. And really what we're talking about is how do we reach more people? 100% of our clients are people. Every single one of them is different. Every single one of them needs something different from us. How do we engage? How do we market? How do we advertise? What are the words I should and shouldn't say? What do I not know that I need to know? What should I incorporate in my buyer consultations, listing presentations to win over more people? You can do this certification by yourself, self-paced online, using that QR code. And once a quarter, we offer it as a cohort, and we do it collectively together virtually. If you do it online now, you can always join the cohort. If you do the cohort, you can always do it online. Once an agent of distinction, always an agent of distinction. But the goal is to really learn our role as real estate professionals and learn all the things about people that we don't even know that we need to know, so that we're attracting more people to us. There's so much to know. There's so much to know. So I'm going to end there, and I'm going to ask you, with this last 3 minutes I have, please jump off of mute, jump in the chat. What questions do you have? Questions, comments, concerns, ahas, anything. Say something so that I'm not the only person talking.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is your big why?
Great question. My big why is to inspire and motivate others to build big businesses and big lives through the power of real estate. That's my big why. I think real estate offers so many opportunities, be it buying it, selling it, teaching it, smacking it, flipping it, rubbing it down, whatever you want to do with real estate. There's a whole lot of opportunities in it. I think you can build a really big life using real estate as the tool. And so my big why is to help people do that. If you want to buy it, I can help you do that. If you want to teach it, I can help you do that. If you want to build a really big business in real estate, I can help you do that. That's my big why. My big why is to help all the people. And I think that the way that this is the best industry ever, because I think it is the most impactful thing in American society. We all just agreed people build wealth through the acquisition of real estate. And if it's that impactful, I can't think of anything else that I could do to have a bigger impact on the world than to participate in real estate in some way, shape, or form. That's my big why.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julia, for joining us today. I have been watching you on your journey for the last 3 years. I was introduced to you when I came to Keller Williams, and I just want to thank you for your time today, but thank you for taking the stigma and the questions and making this a daily conversation in our world. There's been so much back and forth and what we should and how we shouldn't, and how to present and who to be in front of, and you've just demystified it all for myself and I think many people on this call through your efforts, especially from what I've seen over the last few years. So I just wanted to, one, thank you for taking your time to be here and share your morning with us, and two, thank you for making this a conversation that we can all have openly and discuss these things and how to be better stewards of our communities.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Anyone else have any words you'd like to say? Questions? Hearing none, friends, I'm going to just drop in here email address to reach us at equity@kw.com. Opportunities for all. Pun intended. You can reach us at equity@kw.com. If you have any questions or anything that maybe you didn't want to answer or any of that, we're happy to help you with whatever you need help with. There's nothing that I haven't seen. Sometimes people will call me and be like, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, you probably never heard this one. And it's like, oh girl, I heard that an hour ago. So don't feel like there's any question or any conversation that you can't have. I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form, help you grow your business through people. That's what we're here to do. So thank you all so much
Thank
for
you,
having
Julia.
me. I appreciate it tremendously.
We appreciate
you,
your time
Julia.
and for pouring into us this morning. And everybody who's on the call, thank you for being here. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.